Well, welcome back home, Verde Valley.
Well, thank you. We
Nice to see
spent
you.
New Year's up here at our place, and it's nice to see it rain, so right after it's over.
I understand you do have a residence here in the area.
It's near Page Springs Fish Hatchery. It's just short of, it's on Oak Creek.
Wonderful.
Oh yeah, we've been here for 30 some years, and we've planted trees and flowers and built, and we really are very happy there. Our kids are growing up there. One of our sons is going to get married there in April down in our valley, and we're very happy that the creek goes into like a big horseshoe down there, and it comes in down and then goes back out, and that's.
I know you're heading into quite a race here, coming up for Senate in 29 years. And tell us a little bit about why you might be a good choice particularly for residents here.
Well, first of all, I think that it's not what I have done, it's what I think needs to be done. So as far as Arizona is concerned, I don't have to mention it here, it's fire and water. Fire and water. And we are facing, thanks to El Nino, not right now, obviously, it's a strange day to talk about it, but 20% of our national forests have been consumed by fire in the last 10 years. Obviously, we are not going to have our kids live the way that, our grandkids the way that we have, and we're going to have to address the water issues. We need to finish the Indian water settlements, of which there are a few outstanding, including Navajo, Hopi, and we're going to have to make some very difficult decisions.
Who do you feel is most electable for the Republican Party?
I think a lot of them are electable. If you can ask me to predict what's going to happen, I have disqualified myself months ago because Mr. Trump obviously has had a longevity that a lot of us never predicted. There's anger out there and frustration. A lot of Americans aren't looking for work anymore. A lot of Americans saw no real benefit from the recovery, which has been the slowest since the Great Depression. And so there's anger and frustration out there. The anti-establishment, anti-Washington. Approval rating of Congress, I think 14% or something like that. And I haven't met anybody in the 14% category that approves of Congress. If you know anybody, I'd like to meet it. And so that has bred this Trump, make America great again. That catches a lot of people's. Now, how he wants to do it is very interesting. Build a wall and make the Mexican pay for it. I got to admit I hadn't heard that before, but. I think there's a lot of them that are qualified. I'm staying out of it. Lindsey Graham was my guy, as you know, and he dropped out. I thought he was best qualified on national security. He never could get on the national stage. The fact that they closed him out of the debates, I think, was harmful to his chances. I think Bush was a good governor of Florida. Kasich and I are old friends. We were in the House together. He's a successful governor of Ohio. Christie, I like his kind of attitude. Sort of reminds me of New Jersey. A number of them that I think are qualified. So we'll have to see. And it isn't that far away between now and but I'm going to stay out of it now that Lindsey is out. I'll support the nominee. But
so you would support Trump if he's the nominee?
I would support the nominee unless I had a reason not to. I mean, I have to respect the process.
And Sen McCain, being in this area here, of course, one of our large readerships is in the Yavapai Apache Nation. And of course, of their concern was the recent bill with regarding the Oak Flat Sacred Area open to mining. I think I owe them a duty maybe to give your perspective on that bill.
I will be glad to. I am more proud of that bill than I am of most anything that I've done. It took 10 years. If you've ever seen Oak Flats, you will see that it's one of the ugliest parts of Arizona. But the major point is that on the Apache, San Carlos Apache Reservation, there is 50% of the children are born positive for drugs or alcohol. Unemployment amongst young people is around 70%. And this mine, which will be, once it's finally in operation, will supply 25% of the nation's copper supply. I mean, there is a $6 billion investment here, and they're going to hire hundreds of these young Native Americans. And I believe that a copper supply that's domestic is a matter of national security. That's why I put it in the defense bill. It is a matter of national security for us to have a domestic copper supply and not have to import it from other countries around the world. In the Superior Miami Globe area, you will see high unemployment. You will see rundown places. You will see an economy that is probably as bad or worse than any other part of our state. This will rejuvenate the economy out there, and and I've asked many times I asked at least 100 times, I asked the San Carlos Apache leadership, will you sit down and talk to these people? Just talk to them. They refused to even talk to them.
And Senator McCain, you brought up a good point. I think it's fair to say you've been looked at as kind of over your career in the Senate, as a bridge maker as opposed to a wall maker. And look at your history with working in 98, really kind of the opposite side of Republicans, trying to get the tobacco industry to follow their commitments. And then in 03, you worked with Senator Lieberman in climate. And then in 06, immigration guest worker legalization program, Ted Kennedy. That was a Clinton years, a lot of that. How would you compare or contrast your working relationship during the Clinton administration with the Obama administration?
Frankly, it's not good with the president. I am probably his most persistent and looked-to critic on national security issues. Look at a map of the world and of the Middle East in January of 2009 when he came to office, and take a look at it now. I mean, there are direct threats to the United States of America. There will be another attack in the United States of America. I predicted that there would be, and I'm predicting there will be others, as long as terrorists have a base now. For the first time in history, they have a base. Yes, I reach across the aisle and work with Democrats. The senior Democrat on the Armed Services Committee and I work closely together, despite the fact that he is a West Point graduate. Really much better in Washington, yes. But do we have a long way to go? Yes. We still have earmarking and pork barreling and gridlock to some degree that we shouldn't have. But I'm neither ashamed nor embarrassed of having reached across the aisle.
You work closely with Bernie Sanders on a veterans bill. Has he ever called you up in Sedona? Do you know that his daughter lives there?
No.
Yeah.
His daughter lives there?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he comes occasionally.
Well, look, at least he brushes his hair now. When this crisis happened, the 50 people, veterans dying, the leadership asked me to negotiate with him because he was chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee, and I was glad to do it. We had very intense negotiations, very intense. He's an announced socialist. He believes the answer is bigger government. Obviously, I do not. But we came to an agreement, and I think it was a major step forward. There's more to be done. The major aspect of it that was the key point for me is now veterans can have a choice card. If you live more than 40 miles or wait a period of time to get into the VA, you can have a choice card to go to the provider of your choice. What I want, that choice card has become so popular that our next step is to remove all restrictions on it. That the VA is wonderful in Prescott and in Phoenix on traumatic brain injury, prosthesis, PTSD, all those things, but they aren't necessarily good in the routine medical care that many veterans need. So I want every veteran to have this card that they can go and take it to the healthcare provider of their choice. That was the major feature of it.
So here in your life, you've gotten that battle in the battlefield, and then you've got your battle in the political field. How would you compare and contrast those two battles?
Well, in the first one, at least you know who the enemy is. It was Harry Truman that said, if you want a friend in Washington, go out and buy a dog. So, but no, it's the thing that I've learned over the years that I've been in the House and the Senate is if you do the right thing, it always turns out okay.